Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another video as of today. Today's gonna be a little bit different video. I gotta be honest, I'll explain it here in a little bit. You guys are probably looking at the screen trying to figure out what in the hell is going on. I'm gonna explain that, but first, roll the freaking intro, baby. So, as I said, we are doing a little bit different of a video as of right now, and I'm really excited to hop into it. So, basically, I did just want to go ahead and say that... Okay, so I'll just explain what I'm doing first, actually. So, basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Eastern Conference and how I think that it's going to be a lot different than a lot of other people have been thinking in the past. I think that... Truthfully, I think that the Eastern Conference this year is going to be one of the most competitive, one of the most different conferences that we've ever seen, or at least in a very long time. Now, the reason for that, I think every spot is going to be neck and neck. I don't think that there's going to be very many teams that are going to be out ahead of one another. Wow. And I just think that it's extremely, extremely close this year. And I think that it's one of the closest that we've seen in a very long time when it comes to just one specific conference. Obviously, the year that the pandemic did start, that was one that was also very close. There was pretty much just two superstars on every team, and it was a very tight race pretty much all the way through. You didn't really know who was going to win. You didn't know what the seedings were going to be. You didn't know what the standings were going to be, stuff like that. So, I'm not going to ramble on too much anymore, but ever since, from the moment before COVID hit, let's be honest, a lot of times the Western Conference was the stronger conference, and it was by a long shot, especially in some instances, when the Warriors were like a true dynasty and they were absolutely just destroying everybody. They were the top dogs. Like, everyone knew they were pretty much making the finals every single year. They had Kevin Durant, they had Steph Curry, they had Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, they had a good bench, they had great role players. So everyone kind of knew that they were going to be the one seed. Everyone knew that they were going to probably make a finals run. And I mean, it just wasn't, it was still fun to watch. It still was fun to watch, but it's just every year before the pandemic, we've had pretty much one team that's for sure making it to the finals, or at least going to be like a top tier team. We've seen that a lot. So I guess I shouldn't say every year. I should say we've seen it a lot. When LeBron was in Miami, that was a heavy one. When the Warriors were a dynasty, that was a very heavy one. So there's been a long period of time while I've been watching basketball over the past 10 years where we knew who was at least making the finals for one conference. We didn't know both, but for at least one conference we knew who was making the finals. So I think this year's different. I think this year is going to be very, very close. I think this is going to be a tremendous year. If you are an NBA fan, if you are a true diehard NBA fan, this is going to be the year for you. And the reason being is because I think that there are going to be a lot of teams that are going to be close. I think there's a lot of games all the way across the board that are going to be competitive. We've seen a lot of blowouts in preseason, but that's because a lot of the good players are resting. A lot of the good players are taking their time. A lot of their good players are playing only 15-20 minutes a night. And let's be honest, you can only do so much in 15-20 minutes a night. So don't worry about preseason. Trust me when I say this. Do not worry about preseason. It does not matter. It is just basically to get the team chemistry going if it's a brand new team, or to get some of those young guys, get them conditioned, get them ready to go. That's all that the preseason's really for. It's not for anything else. So let me go ahead and dive straight into it. Obviously, here are the two big things going on right now in the NBA. I would say the two biggest things that are going on in the NBA right now. First of all, Kyrie Irving. We don't know what's going on with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving he has stated that he is not going to get the vaccination. He has stated that he is not changing his mind. He made an Instagram live post that was just pretty dumb in my opinion, but Like, none of it even made sense, but oh well. I mean, I'm just another guy watching it, so my opinion doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving is not going to play for this Brooklyn Nets team. I do think that James Harden and Kevin Durant are going to be good together. I think that they will be a very great duo in this league. So with all that being said, of course, Kyrie is a big question mark. Is he going to get traded somewhere else? We don't know. Is he still even going to be playing if he gets traded somewhere else? I don't know. Is he just going to ride out the rest of this year and not really do anything with the team? I have no clue. So we don't know a whole lot about Kyrie Irving right now. The second biggest story, in my opinion, when it comes to things like this, is going to be Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers. We really have no clue what's happening over there in Philadelphia. Obviously, Ben Simmons got pissed off after the playoffs about, the fact that people were making fun of him for passing up on the dunk. He has really played truly bad. Joel Embiid kind of fried him on the post-game interviews. He's kind of just put himself in a situation where it just makes it really hard to play with someone like that. But now that he has truly said those things, Ben Simmons decided to come back to Philadelphia. So it was basically just a elongated hiatus, if you will, and basically just wanted a vacation. And so now I guess he's going to try to play with the team. I just don't think that that's going to work out. I mean, I think that the team is still going to look to trade him, because not only did he try to come back after talking crap about the team, talking crap about the franchise, talking crap about the owners, everything, it blows my mind. He was sitting there bashing the entire franchise. The whole entire franchise was bashing him, and now all of a sudden he comes back and tries to play, and even though he's coming back and trying to play, it's just going to be so awkward. It's going to be so awkward, especially if you were to, talk bad about someone and then try to, have a drink with them or something. That would just be the most awkward thing. I don't think it's going to work out in Philadelphia. I think that, with that being said, I just think that the Brooklyn Nets and the 76ers are going to be significantly worse without Kyrie Irving, and then the Ben Simmons saga is going to continue. It's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse until they trade him. So I think that the 76ers are also going to be worse this year. I think the Bucks are going to be very solid. Again, they were coming off the championship. They are the champions, the reigning champions, and I think that they're a very, very solid team. I like them a lot. I think that... And I don't really have too much to say. I mean, they kept basically the exact same team. They did end up losing PJ Tucker, which is huge. But at the same time, they have Giannis. And Giannis he has literally only gotten better every single year, no matter the year. And he just continues to amaze every single day. Then we have the New York Knicks. I think the Knicks got better with the addition of Fournier, with the addition of Kemba Walker. I think that they have set themselves up in a very good spot in the Eastern Conference. I don't really think they'll be as high as they were this year. I don't think they'll be a 4 seed, but you never know. They could be. And then we have the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, I think that they will progress and they will get better just because they're adding on another year. They've had another year of experience, stuff like that. But truly, their team really didn't get that much better. Trae Young's just going to get better. John Collins is just going to get better. I think Clint Capella is pretty much at his max, but he could potentially get better. So are they really going to be, in that much, or like a 5 seed? I don't know. It's going to really depend on the way that the rest of the Eastern Conference looks. Then we have the Miami Heat, who added in PJ Tucker, added in Kyle Lowry. They added in so much defense onto their roster. They're already a super young defensive team, and I think they're going to be the best defensive team in the league, and I don't think it'll really be close. They're just really good, and especially defensively, you really can't get too much better than what they have right now, unless you add in, I don't know, like freaking Kawhi or something, but that would never happen. And they have Jimmy Butler, who is a tremendous two-way player. I love Jimmy Butler. I think he's a fantastic player. And then we have the Boston Celtics down there at 7. I don't know. The Celtics didn't really make very many moves in the offseason. I know that they brought back Al Horford, but, is that really going to help you that much? I mean, maybe. They lost Kemba Walker. So I don't know. I'd have to watch to see that team. But we could see a year where the Celtics barely make the playoffs just because Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are just such a good team, but the East is just so stacked. Wizards, they'll be bad. I'm not really worried about the Wizards too much. I think that they're going to get a lot worse. The Pacers, I do like the Pacers. I like what the Pacers are doing. They do still have Brogdon. They still do have Karis LeVert. They have TJ Warren. They have Sabonis, who turned into literally an all-star last year. They have Miles Turner, who is one of the best stretch bigs in the entire league because he's got tremendous defense and he can shoot the ball extremely well. They have TJ McConnell, who is a great role player off the bench. They got Chris Duarte, who was the shooter out of, I might get this wrong, but I think it was Oregon. I could 100% be wrong on that, but I think it was Oregon. I love that pickup. He is a very solid shooter, and he's going to be a huge spark plug for them off that bench. I'm so excited to see the Pacers this year. I'm going to a game of Pacers versus Bulls since I am a huge Bulls fan. Can't wait to watch that game. Next, we have the Hornets. I think the Hornets overall, I think that they progressively will get better, but they're just such a young team that right now it's going to be very tough for that team to develop into a playoff team, especially because the East has just gotten better with a lot of these different teams, and the East has gotten really good. And I think LaMelo Ball is literally the face of the franchise already, and he's just going to get better. I like Miles Bridges. I think he's going to get better. PJ Washington, he's going to get better. The only one that might not get better is Gordon Hayward, but he's probably going to be injured too. They still have Terry Rozier. Unfortunately, they got rid of Devontae Graham, but they do still have Terry Rozier, who's a very solid scoring wing. So they are lacking a little bit on the big man side of things, but they're still a very solid team. Overall, they're going to put up a lot of points this year. And if a team can't keep up with how many points they're scoring or be able to stop them, I could see the Hornets winning some games this year. I really like where they're at. Next, we have my Chicago Bulls. Obviously, the Bulls have gotten a lot better than what they were last year. Last year, we were looking at a rotation of Lauri Markkanen. We were looking at a rotation of, I guess Vucevic did end up being there at the end of the year last year, but we didn't really have a small forward. I mean, I guess Patrick Williams was technically our small forward, but it was Patrick Williams, Lauri Markkanen, and then with Zach LaVine, and then Kobe White, we did a little we tried to make Kobe White our point guard, and that was a terrible decision. I think Kobe White, he really thrives at the shooting guard position. I think he's much more of a scorer than a facilitator of the basketball. And then the Bulls just got significantly better. We added in Lonzo Ball. So we fixed our point guard issue. And I'm not saying Lonzo Ball is the greatest thing since sliced bread, because I don't think that that's true. I do like Lonzo. I think that he is going to be a good fit for this team, but the main reason is because of his passing. Zach LaVine was doing it all last year. Go ahead and look up all of Zach LaVine's stats. Dude was averaging almost 30, and he averaged 30, 6, and 7 last year. Insane numbers. Absolutely insane numbers last year. Or he didn't average a full 30, but he was close to 30. It was 26, 27 points. But anyway, he averaged really good numbers last year. The rebounds might have been a little bit lower. It might have been down to 3 or something. But I don't remember. Anyway, regardless, really good numbers. And Zach LaVine can't score the ball and facilitate and try to play defense. He just could not do it all. He had really no help. Lauri Markkanen was not that guy that could help him out. So then they went and traded for Vooch. They got Vooch last year, and Vucevic has been a tremendous scorer for us. And the pick and roll between Zach LaVine and Vucevic is just amazing. The way that Vucevic can stretch the floor, he can dump, or he can cut to the basket. He can get those easy putbacks. Love Vucevic there. We got Lonzo Ball to fix our facilitating issues. He is going to take a lot of pressure off Zach LaVine this year. Zach LaVine's going to improve in the defensive category because of Lonzo Ball being able to take over a lot more offense. Zach LaVine doesn't have to do as much. I do think that Zach LaVine will have an increase in defense. We got DeMar DeRozan, another guy that's going to take off some pressure off of Zach LaVine. I love where he's at. We also have Patrick Williams still, who is a tremendous 3-and-D player. I know a lot of people hate on Patrick Williams. Tremendous 3-and-D player, and that's all we're going to need him to be. Patrick Williams is going to get so many open shots this year. Like, so many open shots this year. And it's going to mainly come off of the fact that we have so many good facilitators and drivers of the basketball. It's going to make it impossible for him not to get a lot of shots. Then we have Vucevic, like I said. We have Caruso, who is going to be a good facilitator and a hustle guy off of our bench. We're going to have Kobe White, who's a good scorer off our bench. I don't really know how much he'll really play. And then we have a plethora of wings. We have Derrick Jones Jr., Troy Brown Jr. We have, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Oh my God. I'm drawing a blank, but I know there's a couple more. Anyway, then we have, Tony Bradley coming off our bench. We have just some really solid pieces coming off our bench at the end of the day. That's really all there is to it. We have a lot of athletes. We have we added so much more defense to our roster. I think the Bulls are going to be very, very, very good this year. I think that they will definitely make playoffs. I would be willing to bet anything. I've already bet them to make playoffs, but I do think that they'll make playoffs 100%, especially with Nets trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do with Kyrie, 76ers trying to figure out how the whole Joel Embiid thing's going to go. I think that they will be higher than both of those teams this year. Next, we have the Toronto Raptors. I think Scotty Barnes is a really, really good pickup for that team, and he is going to take over that point forward role now that Kyle Lowry is gone. I like that a lot. I don't know how much better they will truly get overall, but I do think they'll be a little bit better than they were last year. The Cavs, they're a mess. I will be honest, the Cavs are a mess. They have like 5 or 6 7-footers on their team, or just like bigs in general, and that all deserve minutes, and I just don't know how all that's going to work. Next, we have the Magic. I love the Magic's draft this year. I loved the Suggs pickup. Obviously, he kind of fell to their lap whenever the Raptors took Scotty Barnes. But I love Jalen Suggs. I think that he is a fantastic player. I love their draft overall this year. I love how young of a team they are. Their oldest player is like Jonathan Isaac. Other than Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross is the oldest player, but then they have Jonathan Isaac. And like they just have a bunch of young players that, other than that, they have Wendell Carter Jr., who's a former Bull. I like Wendell a lot. I think he's going to really thrive on a team like the Magic. They have Suggs. They have Cole Anthony. They have R.J. Hampton. They have a plethora of young guards, and I just love what they're doing in Orlando. I don't think that they'll be a top seed by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think they'll be good. Then we have the Pistons. The Pistons obviously won the lottery last year, and then they picked up Cade Cunningham. I think that the Cade Cunningham pickup was amazing. I think that, Jalen Green has a lot of potential as well, but I think that for this specific roster, I think Cade Cunningham was the right pick because now they have a true point guard in Cade Cunningham. They're going to get Killian Hayes back, so I don't know how they're going to be doing that, if they're going to run Killian at the 1, Cade at the 2, or vice versa, or if they're going to run more of like a 2-guard, setup. I would really like that. I would be fine if they did a 2-guard setup. Where, they kind of split the possessions there. I would like to see that. And then they have Sadiq Bey, who showed a lot of promise last year. They have Jeremy Grant, who's very solid. They have Isaiah Stewart, who I think is going to be very solid. A very young roster. So I don't know. I like these teams a lot, but I am going to try to put these teams into what I personally think is going to be the order for the Eastern Conference this year. The moment you guys have all been waiting for. I've been rambling on for a long time now, and I do apologize for that. But I just wanted to give my overall thoughts of each individual team. And so I just love the league this year. That's pretty much all there is to it. So at the number 1 seed, it's going to be the Bucks for me. I love the Bucks. They obviously just came off of a reigning. They're the reigning champs, and I'm not a personal fan of the Bucks. But I just love what the Bucks are actually doing. I like the Drew Holiday, the Chris Middleton, and Giannis big 3. I think that it's a very solid big 3. I think that the role pieces that they have are good enough to get them in that one spot. And Giannis is he just keeps getting better. I don't understand it. I know he's still young, but he is just an absolute monster. Monster. And no one can stop him. So I think that they're going to be the number 1 seed. I think the number 2 seed this year is going to be the Miami Heat. I like the Miami Heat a lot this year with the added defense that they do have, with the added playmakers that they do have with Kyle Lowry. I do like the defense from PJ Tucker that they added. I think Victor Oladipo is going to be getting a little bit more run this year if he can stay healthy, which is always a question mark with him. Tyler Heroes looked great in the preseason. We don't know if he's going to keep playing that great though, so I'm not gonna hold it on him. But you know, I do think that they will be solid there. At the 3 seed is where things get tough, truthfully for me. I do think that if Ben Simmons stays in Philadelphia, they will still be a decent team. So I'm going to put them at 3. I think that the big 3 of Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid is going to be good enough to get them at least the 3 seed. It's just a matter of how well they're going to mesh. It's going to depend on, is Ben Simmons going to get traded? Is he going to, you know, all these different factors. But I do like the Philadelphia 76ers still. I just don't really know. So I have them at 3. Next, I'm going to put the Hawks. I'm going to put the Hawks at 4. I think that the Hawks did get a lot better. Or, well, I don't think that their team physically got better. Like, I don't think they added any pieces to get better. But at the same time, I do think that... let's see. But I do think that their team as a whole, they're going to have another year of experience under their belt. And I do think that they're just going to be just a much more solid team in general. So I have them at the 4 seed. At the 5 seed, I have my Chicago Bulls. I know that this sounds crazy. This is going to sound like me bandwagoning. But you got to realize last year we went 31-41, which is honestly pretty good for this team. I mean, like, we haven't had a team where we've been even close to 500 in the past, like, 4 years, I think, maybe 5. We switched that team that wasn't even close to 500. We switched it into Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, Vucevic, with very good players off our bench, and Javonte Green, who is literally just turning into an absolute stud. So I like where we're at. We have Caruso now. We have Ayo Dosunmu, who was the kid from Chicago. Love Ayo. Think he's fantastic. Really like where he's at. So then I have Chicago at 5. At 6, I think I'm going to go with the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks didn't really get any worse, but truthfully, they didn't really get any better for me. I think that adding Kemba Walker was good. I do. It does give them more of a facilitating type of an offense, but truly they didn't really get too much better. So I think they may lose a little, like a couple more games this year than what they had before. But they're gonna primarily, in my opinion, stay pretty much close to where they're at. So I have the New York Knicks at 6. 7, I am going to keep the Boston Celtics right where they're at. I like the Boston Celtics. I just don't think that... I don't know. I think they got a little bit worse. I think that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are studs. I love both of them. But I just don't think that the role pieces around them... Of course, Marcus Smart's good. Of course, you know, some of their other role players are good. But I don't know. I just don't really see them being much higher. I think Jason Tatum is going to have a breakout year for them to be higher. Same with Jaylen Brown. And they do both keep getting better, so it's entirely possible that they could prove me wrong here. But I just don't really see it. So I'm going to keep them at 7. I like the Boston Celtics at 7 there. 8, I do have the Indiana Pacers. I like the Pacers a lot this year. As I said, I think that they did get better by adding Chris Duarte, adding in another shooter, another spark plug off the bench. I think that, you know, and then I'm pretty sure they traded with the Nets for another backup defensive center. I'm pretty positive. I could be off on that. But I know on draft night they did make a trade, and I'm pretty positive it was for a center. So I think I like the Pacers at 8. I think that they're going to be in a good spot from there. Actually, I guess I forgot to put the Nets in there. I think that with James Harden and Kevin Durant... Okay, I'm sorry. Scratch that. Scratch everything that I just said. So, I'm going to put them at 6. I'm going to put them at 6. Obviously, they have James Harden and Kevin Durant. I think that they're going to be good enough to get them a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. But their role players are just so bad. And James Harden is kind of known for having quad injuries and quad issues in general. So I could see him getting hurt a lot. And then I'm going the Knicks at 7. I'm going the Pacers at 8. Or wait, no. Celtics at 7. Knicks at 8. Pacers at 9. Then at 10, I'm going to actually go with... I think I'm going to go with the Raptors. I think the Raptors had a really bad year last year, but I think that they're going to make it a little bit better this upcoming year. I feel like they're in a good spot. I feel like with the addition of Scottie Barnes, I know that they lost out on Kyle Lowry, which is why I think that they won't be necessarily as good, but Kyle Lowry barely played any games at all last year. So they didn't play very many games. Their main players like Fred VanVleet and Siakam didn't really play very many games either. So I do think Scottie Barnes is going to add a little bit more of a consistency basis to them. So I do like the Raptors at 10. At 11, I do have the Charlotte Hornets. I think the Hornets did get better. Just from a progressive level. LaMelo's only going to get better from here until the time he hits 25, 26, maybe even 27. And then I don't really know from there, but he's only going to get better for the next 5 or 6 years. He will be one of the best point guards in the league at some point. I'm not saying right now, but in the league at some point, and it's only a matter of time. LaMelo Ball is he's a huge, very tall point guard. He is going to thrive, and it's just his team isn't very good right now. And so I think in that first offseason, whenever he's able to switch teams, I think that he will, and he will be on a contender, and I think it'll be very nice. So, next at 13, I'm going to put the Magic. I like the Magic this year. Like I said, I like the addition of Suggs. I think he provides a lot for that team. I think a lot of the trades that they made last year were pretty solid. I like the Wendell Carter trade. It's going to add some young pieces to their team. They got Fournier's contract off, so the next year they're going to have a lot of cap space, and I think they're going to make the most of it, especially with Terrence Ross's contract going to be off the books. So I think the Magic are set up for the right pieces. I just don't think that they're there yet. So I'm going 13 Magic. 14, I'm going with the Pistons. I like Cade Cunningham a lot. I think that he's going to put up some really good numbers, but this team just needs a couple more years to develop, and they will be definitely a playoff team, 100%. So I like the Pistons at 14. 15, I have the Cavs. I like Colin Sexton a lot. He's actually one of my favorite point guards to watch. I love Darius Garland. I think he's a solid player, but they just have so many bigs. They don't know what they're doing with them, and their role pieces are really not that good. They play like Dean Wade, and maybe these guys will turn out to be good, but I truly don't see it. I hope that I'm wrong, but I just have a pretty good feeling I'm not. So yeah, that is going to be my list as of today. Like I said, I think that the East is going to be competitive. If you are a basketball fan, you are going to love this year. Trust me when I say that. It might not look like it right now, but all of these teams are going to be competitive. All these teams are going to be close. It's going to be a very close Eastern Conference. The playoffs is going to be amazing, and I am super pumped for it all. So, if you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. I know this wasn't a traditional rebuild like I have been saying that my Fridays are going to be, but I just wanted to get this video out. I really wanted to express my thoughts on the Eastern Conference. Maybe you guys wanted to see what standings I had, so I wanted to go ahead and just spread that out to you. But yeah, so my schedule, if you guys are new to the channel, my schedule is going to be Monday's a traditional rebuild. Wednesday is a MyGM game or MyGM series. Friday is going to be another traditional rebuild, and then Sunday is going to be my betting picks, whether it's NBA, whether it's NFL, whatever the case might be. That's going to be my betting picks. So, yeah, so that is going to do it for me. If you guys did enjoy, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. This is King Samuel signing out. Peace.